Hey, what's up, people? This is Ike Love. I'm creating and author of the blog, The Viable Alternative, which is an inspirational blog where I share the wisdom and insights gained along my path to becoming a greater, stronger version of myself. If you want to read more about that site, you can click under the window where it says description, and you see a link to www.theviablealternative.com. So today, what I want to talk about is this phrase that I remember my pastor used to say from church long ago. That's now one of the principles of the viable alternative, which I don't really talk about the principles too much, but it is wise to build your own rather than rent someone else's space. Now, just to take the literal sense of this, what happens when we rent someone else's space? We go to someone's house, that a property that they own, the landlord owns it, is owned by a management company. We sign a lease with them, and we give the landlord a certain amount of money for a right to live in the apartment every month. And just say now that after a certain amount of time, the landlord's in a bad mood and decides he doesn't want you there anymore, and he doesn't want to renew your lease, or decides he wants to sell the building. Basically speaking, your behind is out. Why? Because you do not own the space. The space is owned by the landlord. The landlord takes your rent that you're giving to him and he uses it either to build, pay his mortgage, to build equity in the house, or he may use it to just for his own well-being. He may want to educate his kids. He may want to make more investments. But basically speaking, the only thing you're getting out of paying the rent is living in the house. Whereas now the landlord is making investments for his future. He's making an investment. And this investment may even wind up with the house being passed down to the next generation for intergenerational wealth. But basically speaking, the landlord is getting more out of renting the property to you than you are from renting the property and living there. The only thing you're getting out there is living there. You're renting someone else's space. And now, should the landlord be one of those douchebags that doesn't make repairs, you're affected by that. Or if the landlord is just like an unpleasant person, you have to put up with him. Basically speaking, you're renting someone else's space, so you have only so much power over your own life and your own well-being. And even if the place is really, just say the landlord, hey, I'm not even judging I rent right now, but just to say now, you live in a nice place and it's luxurious, you have all the trappings of luxury in the place, but your situation is still precarious because the place isn't yours. And it may seem stable, but at any given time, the rug could be pulled up under you and you're going to have to leave because you're renting someone else's space. And I equate the same thing, renting someone else's space and also getting a job. You're getting a job, you may get a nice fat salary in someone else's company that's owned by someone else, but should the company or the owner decide doesn't like you or in a bad mood, you're basically out, you're canned. And the lifestyle you're living that you're dependent on the money for, your steady salary for, is now in danger unless you find another job. Therefore speaking, you are renting someone else's space. Even the life you're living now and the money you're using to pay your mortgage or send your kids to school, it's at the whims of someone else. You're renting someone else's space. Your space is depending on someone else's well-being. And that's what I think the whole concept means to me, is basically speaking, when your well-being of yourself is not dependent on you, but is dependent on someone else and their whims. And that, I think, when you want to take it on a broader individual level, many people now, they get their validation of self-worth and self-confidence and self-esteem from someone else. They basically are psychically renting someone else's space. So therefore now, the space that person is, the person who that person is renting space from on a psychic level, on a psychological level, if that person now is in a good mood and feels very generous and decides to throw you some compliments about yourself or decides to notice good things about you, your self-esteem raises. You feel good about yourself. The guy said nice things about you. What if he had an argument with his wife, or she had an argument with her husband, or, the boss cursed the person out, or whatever, and now they're in a bad mood and decide to kick you around and curse you out. You decide you to be their whipping boy. Now, because of that, your now self-esteem and emotional and mental well-being now is going to plummet because that person whose space you're renting now is saying things bad about you because you depend on them for self-esteem and validation and self-worth. You're renting someone else's space. You're renting you, so therefore your well-being is subject to their whims. And that's why I say it is wise to build your own rather than rent someone else's space. So what does that mean? This phrase combines the two pillars of viable alternative: self-realization and self-appointment. When you're renting your own, when you're building your own rather than renting someone else's space, you're building your own lifestyle from your own, based on the foundation of your core. Your self-esteem and self-esteem and self-worth come internally. It's based on you. It's based on how you're connected to yourself and how you feel about yourself. It's based on the fact that you know you're a person of value. It's based on the fact that, again, going to the first pillar of self-realization, you realize you have something unique to offer to the world that no one else can offer, and you can offer in your own unique way. And then, of course, you appoint yourself the right to be successful. You're not giving someone else the right to give you successful. You give that right to yourself. That means that the self-esteem that you normally sought after from other people, you give it to yourself. The encouragement that you seek after from other people, you seek that encouragement for yourself. Because you think, you think, it's crazy to give that power for someone else to encourage you and depend on solely from someone else's encouragement when you know that thing can be taken away. So you give that encouragement to yourself. You give the you give the validation to yourself. You get your self-esteem from internally. You get your confidence internally, and therefore nobody can ever take that away from you. And therefore, again, you appoint yourself the right to be successful. So therefore, whatever you saw from others, you give to yourself. And that provides a foundation where now you're building your own space. And you are now the master of your own destiny. You are a slave to none and a master to yourself, because everything you have belongs to you. That's what I mean when you build someone else, when it's wise to build your own rather than rent someone else's space. You do not want to be living on someone else's property, because they can kick you out at any single time. And should I say this or should I talk about this? I think, prime example, because I talked about the individual level, but on a group or on a national level, I think one of the main problems of the African American community is that they're renting the space of white America. Obviously, we know the history of Black America from slavery and then brief Reconstruction, and after that, then there was the whole segregation period, which lasted from 1876 to the 1960s, and blacks were obviously discriminated against, killed, tortured, lynched, kept out of mainstream society. They were kept from having jobs, and a whole whim of things that kept them as second-class citizens. And I think what I know, and anybody knows, that in life, when you're kept from something or shut out of something, you think that thing that you're shut out of is better than yours. You think that thing is better than what you have. So what happened now was, when the laws of segregation were lifted, what happened was that I don't think integration took place, but assimilation took place, where the whole hordes of Black America ran into the space of white America and started renting their own space and everything, and became subject to the rules and the whims of white people. So therefore, what had happened now, Black America abandoned their own institutions they built during the times of Jim Crow, and basically they collapsed because nobody was patronizing anymore, because now people were patronizing white America. And so what happens now in this day and age, you have high Black unemployment, you have low Black, which is accompanied by low Black business ownership. You have things like, obviously the problems of mass incarceration, and just like basically very few Black institutions other than really the church. And I personally think the solution for Black America is to stop renting the space of white America and build its own institutions, build its own companies that hire Black people, and that hire Black people, so that the unemployment rate can be lowered. Build their own media outlets, use the money to pay politicians and so on and so forth, and basically build their own economic infrastructure. Build their own. Because now we see, because of the way the current things are now, Black success is based on the acceptance of white America. And if you look at it here, you see news lines. Oh, the first valedictorian, the first Black valedictorian of Harvard, or the first Black CEO of ABC, or the first Black this of this company, the first Black this of that company. And or you see this huge complaint that we had at the beginning of the year. Oh, they're not nominating enough Black actors for Oscars and blah, blah, blah. See, the entire concept of success by black people in this country is based on the acceptance of white people. Again, they're renting someone else's space. So therefore now, because depending on how well black people feel accepted by white people, they don't feel depending on how well accepted they feel about white people will determine how successful black people feel about themselves. And that's completely pathetic, you know? That's why I think black people need to start building their own standards for themselves, building their own institutions, building their own principles, and just basically speaking, stop trying to live under the standards and rules of someone else. Because I personally believe if you base your success and on your self-esteem on the acceptance of another group, you're doomed to remain slaves of that group. But when you base your own success on your own principles and your own standards, you become a slave to none and a master to yourself. And I think it's time that Black America build its own economic institutions that will have a positive effect and make a dent in unemployment rate, and over the course of generations start building generational wealth to close the income gap between blacks and whites, and also to solve just a lot of the problems that existed, I think, that are due to just the low business ownership of black Americans in this country. It's wise to build your own rather than rent someone else's space, because again, when you're renting someone else's space, and we'll say in this case, Black America renting white America's space, they're subject to the whims of white people. So just say now that white person decides to pass laws now that again discriminate against black people and not hiring for jobs, what's going to happen? The economic fortunes of Black America will drop. And how is that? Why is that even acceptable? Why are people not up in arms about that? You know, it's a dangerous thing. I mean, even you know, a lot of the black celebrities that you see right now, they're hired by white companies, you know, and should they speak out against a certain issue and everything like that, you know, that person may decide to fire them, and there goes their money. That's why I think it's important now for every group to build their own. Forget Black America, for instance, just on a general sense. In a nation, in a multicultural nation, it's important that every group has its own. Because if every group has its own, we're not going to have assimilation more. That's when we can have true integration. Because now groups are sharing equally on an equal level, looking each other straight eye to eye, not one person coming to another group begging for handouts or begging, you know, for a job. Rather, now groups can now hire other people from other groups to their institutions and vice versa, instead of the lopsided depending of one group for another group, you know? I think that's when now, you know, you can have true economic integration and again, solve a lot of the problems. It is wise to build your own rather than rent someone else's space. I've said it a couple of times and I repeat it again. It is wise to build your own rather than rent someone else's space. So, yeah, I hope this helps. And I encourage you now in any station in your life, just on an individual level, start to look within. Start to find ways of how you can validate yourself. What type of life do you want to build for yourself? What type of life reflects the pangs of your soul, the passion of your soul, your desires, you know? What type of life do you want to create for yourself? And now when you decide the type of life that you want to create yourself, reflecting your internal resources and treasures, reflecting your desires, reflecting your passions and everything, find a way now to appoint yourself the right to then go after this life. And you do that by telling yourself you're worthy of doing it. You do that now by providing yourself the encouragement. Instead of depending on others, you provide that encouragement to yourself. You tell yourself you're worthy of doing it. You tell yourself you have the right to do it. You go and find ways to, even if you have blockages, you remove those blockages that are blocking you from accepting the fact that you have the right to go after what you want. If you take some healing from your past trauma and pains and you go get that damn healing. I'm doing that right now. You know, that's when you build your own. That's when you build yourself on a firm, solid foundation. When you find a way now to validate yourself and get your self-esteem internally rather than based on external factors like the amount of money you have, or the amount of people like you, or the amount of people smile at you in the morning, or the amount of people say you're a great person. You know, I mean, it's great to say that, but to depend on that now, you become a slave to that person. It's good now, or it's important that you learn to give those things to yourself. You appoint yourself the right to give those things to yourself. And can I tell you now, when you start to do that, you know how many people you're going to piss off? Just say you're that type of angry person that people hurt you. You know how many people are going to piss off when they find out now that you're getting that validation eternally, so you're no longer dependent on them, and they see you thriving, man? You're going to piss a lot of people off. They're going to be like, who the hell is this person to now get up and build a life for themselves and everything like that, and to be happy, be prosperous, successful? They don't need me anymore. They don't need my validation. They don't need my approval anymore. Where the hell are they getting it from? You piss a lot of people off when you take back your own power and build your own. When you build your own instead of renting someone else's space. Now you become the master of yourself, and you control your own destiny and the destiny of generations to come. And of course, the people that matter to you in your life right now. You know, your loved ones, your spouse, or, you know, whatever, you know. That's the goal. That's the benefit when you build your own rather than rent someone else's space. You know, internal power and self-respect. And when you have self-respect, that's when other people respect you. Because, you know, you can't, what you're not willing to or able to give to yourself, you should not expect from other people. So, again, build your own. Stop renting someone else's space. Stop living in someone else's psychological space. You know, it's dangerous, and it's also soul crushing. Trust me. So, I hope all this helped. I hope you are at least enlightened now to find a way to build your own, whatever that may be, whatever reflects the desires of your heart. If you want to read more on my site, again, go to www.theviablealternative.com. If you like this video, please click on like, and also share it to others, and also you subscribe to my channel. I do a video once a week. And you can also follow me on Twitter, The Viable Alt. And so before I go, again, I say, build your own rather than rent someone else's space. Take care, God bless, and peace.